Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. Pardon me not having a camera this time. My computer has decided to freak out a little bit, but that's okay. I'm on a different microphone as well, but we're going to roll with it. Thank you, everyone who has tuned in to another edition of our Hack the Box stories. Today, we're going to be speaking with the amazing, the indomitable folks over at Parrot about Parrot 6, the latest release, pardon me, and beyond with the Parrot team. Hey, Parrot team. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hey, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for letting me bother you guys with an AMA. It's
Thank
great
you.
to see you both. Heck yeah. First things first, would you mind introducing yourselves?
Yeah, why not? I am Lorenzo Faletra, and I am the founder of the Parrot project. I created it like 12 years ago now. 11 years ago, sorry. But I started it a little bit earlier than the actual release date. And I'm still here, still alive, maintaining the project and trying to give you the best we can do. And she's Giulia Stabile, the new director of the Parrot project, helping me with all
the marketing stuff and
not only that.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
That's all? You're gonna leave it at that with how awesome you both are? That's fine. I'll keep that in mind. I'll remember that. I describe you that way at company events, or when I see you, I'll be like, yeah, they're just the Parrot people. That's fine. They like birds. No, thank you so much, both of you, for being here. Again, can't say how much I appreciate it. Looking through our questions, we do have a number of awesome questions from the audience. Before we dive into that, now, I know that there was one thing that we wanted to talk about. I don't know if it was an announcement. Did you want to go ahead and go into that?
Well,
we get into questions?
It will not be a real announcement. It will just be a little spoiler of a future project. So we can keep it for the last thing. So let's go with the questions.
Awesome. Works for me. Our first question here comes from the Ohio Rizzler, which is just a great name. That is, for those who are not aware, Ohio's a state that has a reputation of kind of being a flyover state. It's a state where not good things happen. So great name. They asked, how did you get started on making Parrot, and what gave you the idea to do so?
Oh, wow. Well, the question is simple, but the answer is not. So I'll try my best. I was studying, well, I was discovering hacking and all this amazing world when I bumped into the cybersecurity distributions, like the pen testing distributions. Back then, there was Backtrack, Backbox, and a couple of other distributions that started with the B letter. It was like Blackbuntu. It was an amazing age to start hacking because technology was still simple, quote unquote, but you could still see things like websites being contacted without HTTPS. So technology was still pretty funny to play with without having to.
Pretty fun to play with. You say that when the internet was so insecure that it was almost laughable. Oh exactly. My gosh, that's a way of describing it.
Today, you can still have a lot of fun, but I think you can start having it at a higher level of knowledge, of understanding of cryptography and other things. So thanks, cybersecurity universe, for that, but no thanks, because it is not so funny as it was before if you are just starting. So back to the question. I was just playing with such distributions, and I found out myself making my first steps into Linux and destroying it every single week. Every single week, I had an issue that pushed me to do my weekly reinstallation of the system. So one thing that I really wanted was to have all my settings, my applications, my defaults with me in a quick way, without spending 1 week to install and configure it and 1 other week to experiment, break it, and do it again and again. So my first solution was actually to just pack my configurations and in a way that was easier to deploy on a new Backtrack installation back then. And then I did the same for Ubuntu. Actually, Ubuntu is a simple distribution. It was not for me because my first computer, the first computer I owned, I could install other operating systems on without being like a family computer, was a very, very old Mac G3 computer with the old Motorola CPU. It was PowerPC. Yeah. So the only
that's ancient.
really run on it was the Ubuntu Alternate Edition with the complicated installer for server things, where I had just the command line interface. So my first approach to Linux was very, very hardcore with just the terminal. Not so complicated as Arch could be, but still complicated installation process. And then all I could play with was the terminal, the console. So that was very, very useful for me because I really learned a lot of things very quick. Then I had my first computer. I started playing with Kali. Kali wasn't there ready with Backtrack, with Backbox a bit, and with Ubuntu. Now the final easy edition. And I started to find out, to question myself, how do the distro developers create their own operating system? Which I think could be another question. So how do you do Parrot? I think we have that question in list. I found out that there is a way to just add your configurations to the system, most likely in your home folder. And there is a way to ship the same configuration system-wide, like if you were the distro developer, like the distro developers do. So those configurations, setups, and so forth are packed in another location, in a different format, and so forth. So I studied how it worked. And since it wasn't documented, I really needed to open the source code, read it, try to grasp from the documentation whatever I could, but it wasn't really the way to learn that. So by reading the source code, I was able to learn where applications find things when such things are not located in your home folder, basically. Then I discovered system packaging. How are deb files created? How are they delivered to a repository and so forth? And then I discovered how the distro developers actually develop a distribution. The result of me messing around with Linux was my own distribution, basically, because I wanted it. I published it, and I wanted it to be cybersecurity oriented, because why not? And this is how Parrot saw its first light. Actually, it wasn't called Parrot back then.
It was Frozenbox.
No, even before before it was called Frozenbox project. It was. I had two projects actually I experimented with. That is why I start counting the age of Parrot from at least 2 years before it was actually released. I don't remember.
You created it.
So. Probably one was Blackout.
He's old now, so that's why he doesn't remember anything. But
okay, yeah. One was Blackout, and the other one was Stealth Pound or something. Very, very silly names, but I was young. Then the Frozenbox project was how I got the project to evolve to a full-fledged operating system. And then Parrot was released actually very close to the first release of Kali Linux. So we were practically born together.
Yeah.
Even if Kali probably has a longer past with Backtrack. Too many names. So basically, we are still here after 11 years.
11 years.
Which are at least 12 or 13 for me. But
yeah.
So this is how
it's a little bit of time, right?
Yeah.
That's wild. I'm disappointed in myself for never having sat you down and asked you that before. Just how we came to. It's wow. That is a hell of a journey. I'm sitting back here just taking this all in. Wow.
And actually, the path I followed was very, very long compared to what you should actually take to learn how to do that. Because if you don't know where you want to go, you do the longest trip possible, and then end up later, but with probably greater knowledge about other technologies you will never have jumped on before, if not for that. So I'm really thankful to all the errors I did in my journey to come to this point.
On that note, you brought up a really interesting question there. And this is something that I believe was asked in one of the questions. No, it was not. So You mentioned that there's an easier way to get into operating system development. Would you be able to speak to that, kind of how you recommend, say someone's new and they want to get involved with Parrot development? How would you go about that? How would you recommend it?
Okay. Let me think. Okay. Distro developers are human beings, and a distribution is just a bunch of programs put together on a drive. So all a distro does is to pack them together and ship them in a usable format for final users. So basically, how other human beings did that was by creating a way to orchestrate packages. So it is very important to learn how package management works on the distribution you want to build your derivative on. Or if you want to go from scratch, you have to develop your own packaging system with that goes from building the source code of a package to delivering the final binary to the users. And it is very complicated. There are very, very many challenges that you have to face in order to develop the right one, or you can just adopt whatever is out there already. Also, package managers are not equal. There are some that are very, very good for embedded devices, like APK, I think is the name for the one that is delivered with OpenWRT. APT is very, very advanced and solves a huge amount of errors you might have. Some people say it is slow. Well, because it installs the packages one by one to avoid conflicts. Yet the download of the packages is parallel, so it's very, very optimized. It's also well structured. Fedora and the Red Hat universe have its own, and it's very, very good. So all you have to do is to learn how distribution makers did their job. There are scripts to help you assemble a repository. There are scripts that help you creating the workers to compile the packages. There are scripts that help you to actually publish the packages on the repository you created. And then you can all maintain them through Git, of course, to have other people help you with that. There are standards to properly maintain Debianized packages, source code on Git. There is a standard for that. And there are then scripts that help you assemble from the repository the full system into a live ISO file. Or if you just want the installer, there are scripts that let you download the installer in a minimal operating system environment, just to allow you to boot the installer and install the system from scratch. So all you can do is basically try to create a vanilla version of your reference operating system, like Debian could be, by using the official tools provided by Debian. And for instance, for live images, live Debian images, there is live build, which is an amazing set of scripts that let you create a Debian live build. You create a vanilla Debian live system with that, then you start specifying in some configuration files of the build environment maybe extra tools you want. You might want to install you might want to try installing other desktop environments rather than the default one. You might have LibreOffice pre-installed. You might get rid of bloatware you don't want. You can customize the set of packages you want pre-installed with the distribution. This is the first thing I usually suggest people to try. Then you might try to customize, I don't know, things like the wallpaper, the boot animation, the icon set, these kind of things. You can actually drop them into specific folders of your build environment to have them placed in specific locations inside the final system. Or you might go advanced and you could package those changes, add them to a repository, and put the repository pre-installed with the distribution and tell the live system to import your package as well, along with all the Debian ones. The result is not only a live ISO based off Debian with your own configuration, the wallpaper in this case, in this example, but you could provide future updates to that wallpaper by updating your package on your repository. So you can provide updates to people. You can provide additional tools, additional applications to people. And this is how a derivative distribution is born. So you still get advanced, still benefit from all the work that was done by the Parrot distribution, which was Debian for my case, and still be able to just focus on what you need, which is to provide specific tool sets, specific customizations, a specific experience, and so forth. This is my best answer I can give to your question.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you so much for answering it in such great depth. That's something that I wanted to ask that right away, just for folks that rewatch this and, you know, if they're interested in getting involved with Parrot. I know it's something that I've expressed in the past, and I feel like a lot of people have an interest in getting involved with operating system development. So thank you for answering that very thoroughly.
Just a very quick note.
Yeah, go for it.
It might be hard for you to contribute to an existing distribution because you don't have the know-how, the documentation maybe is not good enough. But if you are driven enough by willing to create your own distribution, even if it failed in the future, you could still get back to the parent distribution and contribute to that as a contributor. And now you will have the perfect knowledge and skill set to be welcomed there and be productive in that distribution, which is amazing. So do that. Whatever you want, do that. It is a nice experiment to do.
Duly noted. Shoot, on that note, for folks that want to contribute to this, where would you recommend that they go? Like, is there a Discord community, anything like that you would advise folks that want to contribute to Parrot?
Well, we have a very active Discord community. So if you are a Discord guy, please join that. And we have specific channels just for distro development where we share ideas. But we, at our core, are mostly a Telegram community. But we recently created bridges between channels. So the distro development channel on Discord is linked with our Telegram one. So whatever you choose makes no difference. You will access the same content and chat with us about whatever you want, distro related, of course. We have some channels dedicated to just hacking and messing with technology, channels dedicated to helping other people with issues with the system, channels about ideas people might have, or just questions, doubts people have about the system, and we answer there. And then there is, of course, the chat for the actual distro development. We should use it more. But our team,
we're trying.
Let me have a note here. What's happening to my phone? Okay. Everyone decided to call me now. We are a very, very small team. So to be more productive and efficient, we ended up having mostly private chats about things for specific calls. If I have to fix one thing with the Raspberry Pi image, I just call Dario from Catania on by phone or in a private chat. So by now, not everything is visible, mostly because there was nobody looking, so there was no sense doing it publicly. Now we are getting back, developing it in a public fashion, and people seem to be interested again in distro development, so they're more than welcome to contribute, even if they are not technical. There was a guy who was a user experience expert who gave us very slight suggestions about how to make the website better, I think.
Yeah, and he actually was super helpful for us because
he was amazing. He solved us a usability issue on the website that was very, very
small. There are like
small but important for us.
Important that like get our website so much better. And so wherever you can be like community expert, marketing expert, user experience expert, technical, everyone can join and everyone can give their contribute. So
we are an open source project, guys.
Exactly. We need contribution.
Actually, distro development is not like developing C++ or making a game. It is not a skill set that is common on the jobs market. So it is very, very hard for us to find those contributors that might be able to actually put their hands on the distro core, on the distro packages. Maybe someone is expert enough with the tools, hacking tools, to maybe fix them or propose a fix, but we still have to be there doing the work on the packages. So if you are interested in that, we have money to hire you for that. More on that later.
Well,
and nobody to give them to. No fucking money to give them to. So please, if you are interested, it's a very, very... we have open positions, basically. But even if you are not that kind of developer...
open positions, it works better than we have money.
if you are interested to contribute, but you are not interested in messing around with Debian packaging standards, which I know is the most boring thing on the planet.
Yeah.
Packaging can get very, very boring. We can still benefit.
It's our one-man show here.
Well, the community can still benefit from
course.
your help on other things, like using the system and finding a tool that doesn't work, finding out how to fix it, and tell us what you did. That will be amazing for us. Next question, or?
Well, I did want to follow up on that. You did mention that you have money, and I'll be honest, that got me.
No, well, we are still donation based. Don't get it wrong.
Profit, so I was like,
but you know, when you have enough donations to pay more people to work on the core of the system, and you cannot find them, that's a pretty strange situation you are in, especially if you have to, handle the project. You have all the responsibility on things. You don't have the human power to do the best you can do. So you have to avoiding sleeping at night. So me and Night Shifts have a hate-love relationship at this point.
Now. That went places. I was just kind of letting that play itself out to see where we ended up.
No, honestly, we have money destroyed me inside. I was like,
so, okay. Say it again.
We had an awesome question in chat. This one's from Ryan Linux, who asked, "How can someone join the Parrot security team?"
Okay.
I had to rephrase that
that's
just a little bit.
Well. First of all, you can have a chat with us on our public channels, and there we will be more than happy to welcome you and guide you through various things. Actually, we changed the way we develop the system, like the flow of development of the distribution several times in the past, so we couldn't end up with a proper documentation for contributors. So we used to point people to the Debian documentation, which was good but not good enough. But now we are finally writing a new documentation manual for contributors. So people will be able to just jump on our documentation page, find the manual section for our contributors, and have there all the instructions on not only what to do, but also why to do. I found that was very important because people don't really isolate the various steps of packaging from the source code to the final delivery. So we are ending up with a bunch of examples and things. But okay, probably it's now time to spoil the thing. Yeah, why not?
We're going to jump to it. Go for it.
We were like, okay, let's do it at the end, but...
No, let's do it now because it will answer the question. Yeah. We are up to launch a new contributors program called, what's the
Parrot Corsairs.
The Parrot Corsairs, where basically you can jump in the project, the program, start contributing to the project, more that on our documentation as soon as we finish to write it.
Yeah.
Or you could just have a chat with us, video calls with us if you need, where we might try to teach you what you didn't get immediately from the Debian documentation, and make you productive on at least some tools. Of course, we have an open list of tasks we might need help with, but we also have several tools with probably bugs that we don't know. So if you want to adopt a tool, if I don't know the Barb Suite tool is outdated and you wanted to update it, we might guide you to learn how to do that. Then there is a nice structure of badges that we would like to give to people that actually contribute through the program. And through those badges, there are also prizes for you.
Yeah, you get rewarded for contributors.
Rewards from just being publicly visible on our website as an official Parrot contributor to receiving swags, probably discounts.
Yeah, it's like the first level is going to get you like our basic starting package swag store from our store, sorry.
A t-shirt, things like that.
Then we're going to have a bunch of prizes from Hack the Box. Thanks, Hack the Box, for this. A bunch of discounts that we're not going to spoil it yet. And at the end, when you finally reach the final level, you are actually going to have a chance to actually being hired in the Parrot security team. So it's a little bit tricky, but you just need to contribute and feel to do whatever you feel to do. And we see everything. So we look at everything.
Yeah,
we
we have to
stalk
check.
people, and we can maybe find some hidden talent and people in our community.
Yeah, we need consistency. So
Yeah.
we tried to gamify the most boring thing on the planet, which is packaging and
Exactly.
software maintenance. I hope it works.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. No, that's awesome. Real quick, I did want to take a breather and let everyone in chat know. First and foremost, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you have any questions, and I see your question, the bird, I have that one pulled to the side. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in chat. If it's a question that we end up making it to, we'll pull it up on the screen, and yeah, we'll go ahead and talk through it. Otherwise, thank you again, everyone, for being here. And we'll go ahead and jump over to our next question. Actually, before I jump into that next question, did you have anything any last thoughts on getting involved with Parrot? Anything you wanted to reiterate?
Sorry, I didn't get the question well. Did you ask whether we have free slots at the moment for the Parrot project?
No, rather, did you want to reiterate how people can get involved? Just state that again.
Oh, okay, very quick. Yes, the project is public. We have our not only community channels where we have like rooms dedicated to distro development or just questions people might ask about the distro development, but we also have a GitLab instance with a GitHub clone. GitHub is just a mirror, so get involved in GitLab, where every single package inside the Parrot project is available there under a specific Debian format for Git to maintain Debian packages through Git. So you can jump there and just through Git propose your own bug reports or push requests and so forth. And we will jump in and help you if you did it wrong, guide you through all the process if you don't know how to do that, and we will guide you. Is the best way to describe it.
Heck yeah. No, that's great. For everyone in chat, if you're thinking about this, definitely give it a try. It's one of those things where it is well worth. It's kind of like learning a musical instrument. It's a different way of thinking, so definitely consider giving it a try. Now, we did have Hack the Box get mentioned in there, and we had an awesome question come from the bird in chat that they asked. Let me go ahead and pull it up. How did Hack the Box end up teaming up with Parrot OS? Could you talk about how that partnership started?
Well, it is a nice story because it was a community love story. One guy from the Hack the Box community approached one guy of the Parrot community, or probably it was vice versa. But basically, those two guys got together and told us, well, why don't you talk with them? So thanks to them, we got a call arranged with Chap, the Hack the Box founder. He went here to Palermo. We had a dinner together.
Wait, small detail. Back in 2019, actually.
Yeah, in 2019, before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Then we were invited to the very first company meetup of Hack the Box, where basically all the company from all over the world joined together for 1 week, or it was a few days back then, like 4 days in London. Even if we were not part of the team, the whole of the company, the whole Parrot team was invited to just hang out there with people. And it was a free situation. People could work on stuff. They could just visit the city. We were very, very free to chat with people, hang around together, spend the night together. We got drunk every single night together. So that was amazing.
I don't know if it's like a right thing to say out loud in a live stream, but
I know, because from the outside it might look like a very business thing about two companies having a joint venture together. In reality, it still has that community passion. So we are not owned by Hack the Box. Hack the Box didn't want to own us, to buy us. The first approach was, we would like to deploy a product that depends on you. We believe in your mission. We think you might believe in ours. Let's try to do something together. We will cover all your costs, all your maintenance, stuff like that. We will help you have a legal framework for the distribution. In fact, now we have a CIC registered in London. CIC is a community interest company, by the way. So they covered all the costs. They hired us as Hack the Box employees, but then created a Parrot department inside Hack the Box, put me in chief of that, in control of that, and then gave us absolute freedom about development. Because strategically speaking, one thing that they wanted to maintain was the absolute independence of the project. In fact, there are even direct Hack the Box competitors that use Parrot, and it is not so hard to do that. Like that will be with Kali, because Kali is so offensive security branded and directly owned. Nothing against that, but for a direct competitor of them, that could be an image issue, an image damage, unless you modify the system, do extra work. So instead, we decided to do the Pound Box, help them develop the Pound Box and assist them. Actually, in few weeks, I hope, but very, very soon, Hack the Box will release the Pound Box version 6 with huge amount of updates.
Another spoiler.
Another spoiler. That would be amazing. We still don't have an answer.
Spoilers left and right.
Take it as a spoiler. So we will really update that as well. So we help them with the Pound Box, and we go together to events and community things. We actually live together, like if we were a single family, but the independence and autonomy of the distribution was guaranteed from day one. This is something that I loved, that convinced me to agree, and that tells a lot about the philosophy behind the Hack the Box culture, basically. This is why I started to believe in the Hack the Box mission as well, and now I feel like a part of it. So that's how the love story began.
Oh no, don't make me quote Taylor Swift.
That's so heartwarming to hear. I mean, it's so cool to hear how everyone's made it into Hack the Box, just because it's always such a, not necessarily organic, I don't know if that's the best word, but it just kind of happens, you know? It's just people end up making their way towards this.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
And we still have a lot of partnerships with other companies, with other realities in the cybersecurity industry. And we welcome even Hack the Box competitors to jump in. It's not an issue. But as a mission, we really believe in the gamified idea that Hack the Box had, how they evolved with the academy, with the big events. And this is something I believe, especially when I saw them deciding to give as much free content as possible to the community, while focusing on a better business-to-business strategy. So they really focused on B2B to be able to offer a lot of free content for the community. And this is something that I, as an open source developer project, as someone that was born in the cybersecurity industry by advocating software freedom and freedom of knowledge and sharing it as freely as possible, this is something I really, really enjoy seeing from such a big company like you guys.
Absolutely. I say that like I guess I am speaking for Hack the Box at the moment.
Okay, sorry. I want to hire to a little rise in the salary. Is it possible? How much was I paid to say that? Something.
Well, I should probably move us on to our next question before we get sidetracked. We've had a lot of enthusiasm in chat. And chat, by the way, thank you all for, again, being here. I can't appreciate y'all enough. But we've had some awesome questions about how to join Parrot, as well as more specifically the requirements for joining Parrot Security. We had one from Jamil Basit. Apologies if I butchered your name. What are the requirements to join Parrot Security? Read about that one, Emma. Thank you. Awesome.
Well,
thank you. So what are the requirements to join Parrot Security? Do you have any requirements for people that want to start contributing or are just interested in Parrot in general?
A good understanding of how a Linux distribution works. In fact, more than a developer background, what we really search is a system administrator background, because if users, software users are the direct clients of developers, the system administrators are the primary clients of distribution developers. So if you are a system administrator, if you know how to set up a server, how to configure a Linux system, you know the internals, you know the difference between the various pieces, even if not so well, it will be very, very easy for you to, well, it's a big word. It is easier for you to actually learn how to package. Then there is one major caveat that might stop you from understanding what's going on in our GitLab organization, for instance, because usually a software is a repository with all the code there. Maybe there are a couple of repositories, like the primary one, and a couple of others to help with like the website, or maybe you have the backend separated from the front end and so forth. For a system distribution, it is wild because every single software that composes the operating system, and there are thousands of them, is a separate software. So the project doesn't reside on one repository or a couple of them. It resides on a myriad of things. And often you find yourself knowing how to change something, but not understanding where that something is located. This is why there is us there helping you. So if you find out I don't know, one of our wallpapers is not in 4K monitor compatible, and you want to draw a higher resolution one, we could guide you to the proper repository where we hold all the graphical assets that get installed in the system. So basically, the best way to address you to the right direction is to use the system with a good understanding on how Linux works. Find yourself what you would like to contribute to. It could be a tool that needs to be updated, like Barpsuite. A new version of Barpsuite is out. A new library that would be nice to have on the repository because you use it often and you cannot install from the official apt repository. Or I don't know. You are just an example. You are a Qt developer, Qt, the graphical user framework. You find out that by installing Qt Creator from apt, the whole Qt framework is not installed with you. So there are a couple of other packages that are needed for it to work properly. You would like to have those packages pre-installed when you install the tool. So there is a package to modify. You don't know which one. You contact us. We tell you what to do. And we guide you through the process to do that little modification to have your IDE set up automatically by just installing it, which is not something that happens by default. Actually, this is a task I should open on GitLab. So you find other things that, for instance, right now there is a evil WinRM bug that doesn't work. The tool doesn't work because of OpenSSL that doesn't allow you to use legacy ciphers. It is a cryptographic basic tool. So there is a modification that you can do to the OpenSSL package to fix it, to allow tools to ask OpenSSL for legacy ciphers. It will work. Where to place that file? It is a bug that I closed yesterday. But if you find other things similar to that, you find a solution that you will be able to apply on your local system, but you will like our guidance to apply them system-wide, distro-wide, actually, and have all the other users benefit from that, we are here to guide you. And through our guidance, you might find out it is easy enough for you to learn, interesting enough for you to pursue, to continue to do that. And I'm not so confident in it, but maybe you will really like it and consider joining the project as a not a seasonal contributor that jumps in, does a contributor and fades away, but maybe as someone who wants to stick with the project.
Absolutely.
Also because there is a lot to learn.
Yeah. Well, and even then, it's one of those things where I can imagine it's very easy to get overwhelmed with getting into the project. And would you say it's just that's something that gets better with time?
It's not hard. It is complex. You know, it is a huge world of thousands of packages working together, and you need to get familiar with how different it is from standard open source software development. And you could be able to contribute to the project without even knowing how to program. All you need to do is to have a bit of familiarity with config files and Bash. Probably, it is the best way to start the journey. Actually, even if you are not a
say
developer.
something more.
Yeah. Okay.
Like besides everything that may concern about cybersecurity and everything, we also need human people like me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's. I mean, for instance, I'm not a technical, and I probably can understand 1% of what he's saying right now.
She knew of the existence of Wireshark because I told her to do a post on Instagram.
Exactly, and that's the level. But it's not a thing actually, because I feel I can say this out loud that me and him work good together, like such.
We complete each other.
He's a robot, I'm the human, and we can get along. We can find the perfect match to work together. And there are multiple fields into the cybersecurity, such as, for example, community marketing and human resources, for example, that can be added for the project. So even if maybe you want to start to learn and you have other abilities that are far away from programming and everything, but you want to learn while working, that's what's happening actually right now with me, because I was always interested, but I never had time to study these kind of things. You can join with other abilities, with other technique, with other
I am the best example of it. I learned not only how to do a distribution, but how to do hacking while developing the distribution, which means I had no clue about all of that when I started, and the project actually survived
the truth
year.
comes out.
So if you find yourself not in the position to do that, I told the only difference between me and other people is the passion I had, not the skill set. Otherwise,
that's
the project
the perfect description. Like, you have to be passionate about it. You have to be consistent. You have to just wanting to learn new things. And you're the perfect person for us, actually.
If you want to learn cybersecurity or distro development, if you want to, deep dive into those two categories, I think contributing to an open source project like ours will be a nice fit for you. Other questions?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That was a great. Thank you for adding that last note at the end. We have some awesome questions here in chat. We had one that was, let's see, this one by Sam. Question: for a Linux operating system mainly used for cybersecurity and with limited resources, in parentheses, staff, what is done to help prevent malicious code on your OS? Or what is done to help harden said OS? So how do you prevent bad things from entering the Parrot ecosystem?
Okay, well, first of all, because we are very few of us, we have to trust Debian. From time to time, when there are important updates, I still look manually into what Debian pushes. Then there is no automatic pipeline from Debian to Parrot, so I still have to manually trigger the button in order for Debian updates to flow into Parrot, even if there are security ones. Most of the times, I don't know why, I think there are some hidden sensors here at home that the Debian project controls. They release security updates while I'm showering or sleeping or other things, and I have to wake up or dress myself up, jump to the computer or to my phone and deliver the security update. Oh, which one?
When we first met, it was we were friends for 2 years.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the project yet. And we were filming some stuff.
Oh, shooting the the Prime Video series.
And we were quarantined because COVID strike, and that's everything. And it was we were at the restaurant.
I went to dinner for the restaurant.
Everyone was at the table. We were 20 of us. And he was there, his computer. I was I was
China attacked us.
What are you doing? I was oh no, don't worry about it. China is attacking us. I was
we received the biggest DDoS attack we have ever received.
Taking a bite of his plate and then fighting China.
So the first answer is, okay, we mostly trust Debian, but we still hold the manual trigger to import updates.
So instance, would you say it's a trust but verify situation?
You cannot verify every single update, like reading all the source code and having a clue whether there is a hidden backdoor or not. Even if you were like a developer monster or something, you will not be able to spot these kind of things. So we verify, and then trust most of what Debian pushes, especially the pre-installed packages that all the users will get an update on. Then there are all the tools that we deliver. Those I have to control them one by one. The other developer we have aboard, DM Knight, he's from Vietnam, so from the other side of the planet, from
our side.
Yeah, compared to our. So I have to
a little bit of a distance, yeah.
Night with him to verify his work, to make it better, to deploy it, to see whether it compiles or not, to provide him log files about the failures at compile time. But one of the things I do to accept his contribution, but contribution even for other people, nothing wrong about him, is to actually verify the update, because there could be scripts that implant a backdoor. There could be silent things that, when put all together, might activate and do bad things. So I try to be very cautious about what to do. One technique that I discovered in the years is to actually look at what is actually changing from one version to the other, because you notice whether just a function had a better error checking, or whether there are new functionalities, full functionalities added to the software. If you see a discrepancy between the release notes or the log notes of the new version, where you see 10 features added and you see 11 of the code, you look at the 11th to see what is doing. So, but most of the time, I don't really focus a lot on the code, but mostly on the surrounding scripting to have the package properly delivered. Like the installation scripts, the initialization script, the Debianization of the program. But the source code still receives quick verification steps, say. It is not perfect. It is impossible to do better with less than the human power that we have. It could be done better. It could also be a challenge. How do open source projects defend themselves from external contributors posing a threat against the project? Static analysis is a nice thing to implement, but it's very hard to implement in a distribution when you have thousands of different programs developed in their own way, developed in the programming language the developer decided when he woke up and started to create it. So every single project is a different project, developed by different people with different goals in mind, and it's extremely hard to unify a security flow for each of them. So it is a challenge for you guys. How will you do that? I found my way. It is mostly manual. It implies a little bit of trust, especially on our upstream, which is Debian, while less trust for things we have to manually import from the various tool developers. And one interesting thing is you cannot really rely on automatic tools to detect backdoors, for instance, because the Metasploit package is full of backdoors. It is made to create backdoors. So of course you have dormant malicious code on your distribution. You have to be
I would have never thought of that. That's wild.
We received a lot of my sonography.
Oh no, man, overboard.
My lightsaber. So we received a lot of reports from people throwing an automatic analyzer at the distribution, finding out there was a backdoor inside. Well, guess where? In the Metasploit folders, or in the I don't know, evil, I don't know what folders. It was a legit report. It was legit for them to be there in those locations. The malware was not a malware. It was not an infection for the host system, which is Parrot. But in a very, very early ages of Parrot, there was a backdoor. I don't remember the name, probably Simotoa or something. Can you correct me on that? Yeah, which is something that you have to deploy on a target system for it to work. It made no sense to have it into user bin. on your Parrot system. We had it there. So we had to stop for a while, think about what we were doing, and move it away. So Shimotoa nowadays should not be, if it was Shimotoa the right way, I don't remember the name, it is no longer in the user bin of the Parrot project, so you cannot execute it by mistake, even though you need to configure it the proper way, so you will not get infected by just executing it, but it was not the proper place for it to be. So little accidents like that might happen, especially when you have, it is like, how will you handle a weapon storage facility? Okay, it is dangerous. You have explosive things there. They are supposed to be there. Are they well stored? Are they protected? Will they explode if you walk in? The answer had to be no. To be able to answer no to that question, you have to know what you are doing. You have to know the tools. This is also why learning hacking through developing a hacking distribution is a very, very interesting way of learning that.
I love the example of the armory.
I'm taking a moment to absorb this because it's such an interesting way of, it's almost learning learning hacking backwards or sideways, because you're learning it by looking at the operating system. I would have never imagined that.
It's not even learning backwards, because learning it backwards will be to start with blue teaming or system administration and then blue teaming, developing not even the tools, but the environment you store the tools in, you provide them to with. It's very, very interesting, actually, very peculiar.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, I did want to jump to one other question. We had a great question asked by, let's see, Forever EXE. They asked, have you ever involved students, such as high school students or universities, in any degree? So have you ever involved younger folks with the development of Parrot?
Well, yes. I started actually with universities, but always locally in Palermo, where I live, or in Rome, probably in Milan one time, I don't remember. Bari as well. So I walked around Italy advocating cybersecurity and teaching some introductory cybersecurity in universities. Then I tried to do the same with schools. And so I don't know the equivalent in your country of what we have right now in Italy. It is like guys around 16, 17 years old. That was the average age for them for me to approach to. High school, high school equivalent. So it was interesting because I've never had really the time to teach you something like making you an hacker. You cannot become an hacker with a 10 million hours course. It is all about your involvement with that. So what I did was to do cybersecurity advocacy, privacy advocacy, free software advocacy speeches, having as a core hacking my way into getting them to know the issues, the challenges, the opportunities there. Like I did 3 days ago, something like that. One of those speeches in a primary school. My introduction was a very big slide about how to sell drugs online. When I got their attention, I started to talk about privacy tools.
Primary school.
It was I don't remember really, but they were very, very young, actually. So I started with that. Of course, it was a reference to the Netflix web series. Amazon Prime will delete us from there. So I started with that, then focused on privacy technologies, showed them why they were not just important to commit crime, but also to protect your freedoms, and then why those are important, how to do that. I told about my concept of digital hygiene. For the same way, for the same reason you take a shower before going out, and it takes you a lot of time. For the same reason, you should decline the cookies banner when it is boring, it takes time, but for the same reason you don't get out as dirty as you are. You take a shower, you say no to cookies, you read terms and conditions, maybe just the paragraphs that interest your privacy. Why not do that? So in a school that was effective. Universities, of course, you can go way beyond that. You can get technical, show the tools, show the attacks, show the defenses, show why the attacks were possible. So show about if they already did, I don't know, a C course, like a C class, a C++ class, you might talk about memory vulnerabilities. Very, very light, nothing very deep and boring. You can keep it funny by getting examples. You write a code. It is exactly what they wrote at the last exam they did. You hack it. You show them how to hack it. And they freak out. And then you tell them where to go to know more. So that's what I did. Then, of course, with Parrot, we did other projects. Like we had a lot of contributors in the community who weren't really contributing to the code of this distribution. They were friends of the project. So we got them involved into community activities like going to schools and doing exactly what I did here on my country. So we were a bit contagious as a project. We got many people involved into teaching to young people, young generations about cybersecurity and privacy mostly, because one focus that the distribution had in the past was privacy, actually, with Unserve. It was like a side pillar of the distribution, but people really enjoy that we provide it in that way. So Unserve, a very, very stupid bash script that anonymizes the tool through Tor, was one of the most loved things we ever provided with the distribution. More than having LibreOffice aboard, more than having probably the browser or something. People wanted Unserve. So yeah, we did university activities. If you want to do the same, actually, I suggest you to do the same. You don't have the time to teach them how to do something. You might have the time instead to give them, to spark, to fire a spark in them and have them passionate about something. Make them discover a potential passion in the cybersecurity industry. That will be the best thing you could do. And hacking techniques like social engineering can be applied while doing a speech to a class, to classroom, to have them involved, to have them fall in love with cybersecurity. So if you want to do that. And you don't have to be an expert. You just have to be good at speaking.
Absolutely. Pardon me. I had to clear my throat there. No, thank you so much for answering that in such depth. And just to reiterate, this really is something that's open to everyone. It's really fueled by your curiosity. Would you say that's the case? It's very much passion and curiosity. I'm not sure if did that come through okay?
Sorry?
No, you're all good. Would you say that, a lot of the things that you're looking for in people that would join the Parrot team are that they are passionate and that they're curious?
Yeah, okay, I got it right. Sorry, the computer is very far away and there's a lot of reverb in the room, so...
no, you're all good.
Well, having only passion means that the passion may fade away in the future or shift to other things. So we need some consistency and we need skills. Of course, for seasonal contributors, it will be amazing to have a bunch of them aboard as well. So what we really search is competence or the willing of developing it. If you want to develop competence in distro development and you want to keep it as a side job, as a main job, hopefully, but I won't really bet on that. I will be more than happy to have you aboard and guide you with that. But yeah, consistency and skills are something we really need. But passion is the main driver if you want to
just start.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. No, thank you for reiterating that. Let's see. There's a great question that I just saw looking at chat. This one's from Hamada. Bound. I apologize if I butchered your last name. Palinuro, spill the beans. How do you handle being a hacker, researcher, DJ, and photographer without going crazy?
I can answer this. He's not sleeping at night. Crazy? That's it. I mean, I received like videos from him. He's DJing at night, and I was like, your neighbors, for example, doesn't want to kill you or something like that. He doesn't sleep.
The home right here is uninhabited, as well as the one below. Upstairs, there are my parents. They hate me.
It doesn't matter. They are your parents.
The building is silent enough for me to do DJing at night. Well, it is about, well, I'm very driven by passion, actually, and I have several passions. I think all of them have a root in common, which is exploration. For instance, photography taught me how to frame reality, which is a very philosophical concept that you can apply on many other things that have absolutely nothing with photography. I did some theater. I acted as I tried to be a theater actor in the past. I failed, of course, but what I did with that, I recycled the knowledge I had to have public speeches at schools, on big conferences. I'm very confident on a stage, so it enabled me to actually try to how can I say, to spread whatever bullshit I learned over the years to other people, and maybe try to get them passionate about that. It is only because I failed at theater. DJing is not about DJing. It is about two things: knowing the music, which is very personal, and knowing how to read a crowd, because you don't really play the music you like. You play the music you know that will work on the public you have in front of you. So it is a skill set that is extremely hard to learn. Many DJs are called like bedroom DJs because they are good at playing techno, but they get no clue about how to read the crowd. So by learning how to read the crowd, it is a skill set I might recycle for something completely different in the past, which might involve just what could it be? Maybe something security related. Why now? Maybe. Well, actually, reading the crowd helped me a lot, learning some deep concepts on artificial intelligence. I will not explain you how they are related. They were to me. They unlocked me from some situations where I was not getting the theory behind it. I got it by DJing. So why not doing that? It is never time wasted. It is always time stretched. You could stretch the time more than you could. You're allowed to. But since I was lucky enough to be able to stretch my time as much as I wanted, I really enjoyed. I really enjoy doing other things that are completely unrelated to cybersecurity, and they always come back in some way. For me as a better person, for me as a better teacher, for me as a better, hopefully, distribution developer, and so forth. So why not? And having a plan B is always a great idea. Maybe tomorrow information technology will disappear, fade away. I still know how to develop software. I might become a DJ or a photographer. I really hope no. But one thing could be, what was he saying? I lost myself in there.
I don't know. The only thing that I feel to say is that I get up every single morning with the fear of him saying, okay, I'm giving up on everything.
Okay, close the project.
I'm like going away DJing like in Ibiza or something like that. So
no, it will never happen. Cybersecurity is really interesting. Oh, for instance, I recently got involved with radios, analog radio, like ham radios. Got my license a few years ago. Got involved with an association, a local group of amateur radio operators that are also active volunteers for the civil protection. I don't know if you have something equivalent there, but almost, at least in Europe, every single country has a civil protection. They showed me their infrastructure. That was mostly shit. I am helping them to restructure it, to implement some of their ideas, to implement some of my ideas. And now we did a live test on the field of my technology I developed. It was actually April 6th we did that the test. It worked, and now we want to propose it nationwide, this solution to monitor emergency situations like operators on field through APRS protocol, which is an AX25 protocol. basically, I'm getting back to studying networking with protocols I've never heard about, with challenges, communication challenges we don't have in fiber optic connections and so forth, or that we have in wireless technology, but we don't see because of the firmware that we have. So I'm getting involved with filters development, with soldering of very, very tiny things. So it is amazing. It is amazing. It is a waste of time for something related to the Parrot development. It will come back from the window. Trust me.
Okay, you can search me on LinkedIn because I will
You
be
need to hire
unemployed
someone.
in some days.
Keep that in mind. Oh my gosh. Well, you
I
heard
don't
it
even
here
remember
first.
if we answered properly the question. I should get,
Yeah, there was
quicker.
sense. Yeah, no, there was a sense. Don't
Okay.
worry about it.
Let's be quick. I try.
I was about to say, you heard it here first. Lorenzo's going to become a full-time DJ. That's it. Wrap it up, folks.
Yeah, it's going to happen for sure. I mean, I can bet on it. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that was an awesome question. Thank you so much, Hamada, for asking that. Let's see. I do want to jump to a couple questions that we had from our initial submissions. This is a really good one. Let's see. Were there any choices you made when you first started developing Parrot that you later regretted? Did you ever have something that you wanted to go back and change? I realize I'm putting you a little bit on the spot for that question, so it's okay if you want to move to another one.
Okay. Well, I might say I regret studying Perl. But in the end of the day, well, when you start, then you reach like the first level where you regret all the bad choices you took by looking at your back and seeing what you did. You are able at some point to recognize faster and smarter ways to reach the same point you are in. When you go upper and upper, at some point you reach that level, that peak, where you look back and say, you know what? I don't regret losing a lot of time studying Perl, which is a dead language, doing that other thing that makes no sense no more. Because if you study only one thing, okay, you need to be optimized. All the time wasted doing longer paths, studying technologies that make no sense and so forth, that extra work that you might think it's wasted time is helpful, come back from the windows again, whenever you start studying something else. For instance, a lot of time I thought I wasted in studying the mathematics behind cryptography. Spoiler alert, I know nothing about that. I just tried. All the time wasted trying that got me a good understanding of some of the mathematical things behind artificial intelligence. Okay, so you can you can follow a very optimized path to master one topic, one thing, one technology, and so forth. But then you will need to do a huge amount of extra work if you wanted to replicate the same on another field, even if that field you follow an extremely optimized way. So the more inefficient your path is, the easier it will be for you to jump into your next passion or your next technology or your next task. So I love wasting time on other things because they always come back some way, and they always get me ready to work, ready to understand, ready to do something extremely hard that I for some reason find easy, just because of the time wasted on other things that got me understanding, got me to learn more languages that I need. And the more languages you know, the more efficient you are at learning a new one. For instance, there are databases that I will never use. I spent that single hour, that 30 minutes studying, having a look at that syntax. At some point, I will land on an analytics platform, on something where the syntax, the SQL syntax, is so out of this planet that I will not get a clue. But if I did waste some time on this kind of technologies, I will find it familiar somehow. So what I suggest is to really, unless you are in a hurry because you have to be hired by a company, you want to start a project and you want to take the right choices from the beginning, unless you are in these kind of situations, don't really pay so much attention about how efficient your path is. Because, okay, tomorrow you will regret it. The day after you will love it. So just live with it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's such a nice way of putting it, where everything really does add up in the end. It's as much as you mentioned that it was wasting time. I think I'd actually disagree with you there. I think it's exploration.
It is exploration, yes.
Yeah.
You have to be sure you are dedicating enough time to exploration. If it is too much, maybe you will never complete something.
Although I'm sure Julia loved hearing you say that you love wasting time.
Can you see how relaxed I am when he says, I love wasting my time, and I'm like here trying to get some
Don't kill me, please.
I cannot. I love you so much, so I cannot. But still, I'm so relaxed.
Okay. Get relaxed. Next question.
Next question, you say. Let's see. This is kind of fun one. Why would you recommend Parrot as a hacking operating system? The full question is by Guns Fox, and they asked, why should I select Parrot over another pen testing operating system? Just why would you recommend Parrot in general?
Why should you not? I mean, I am the Parrot security founder, a current team leader. On my USB on my neck, I have a copy of Kali, a copy of Backbox, I believe, and a copy of Ubuntu. And even if I am a very Debian folk-oriented developer, I have a Red Hat distribution as well. I have Fedora with me. I mean, it is a tool. There are similar tools. Just use all of them and use more whatever you enjoy more. There is in the past, the real goal of Parrot was to try new technologies that were too experimental, too audacious to be tried on more affirmed projects. This is why we tried removing the root login, adopting a more lightweight desktop environment, having a slightly different menu structure with different categories for organizing pen testing things, adding an automotive category to it with a bunch of tools. It is not well polished, that we have to do better on that. So we experimented with sandboxing technologies, for instance, a lot in the past. Then Debian come up with better solutions, better configurations, and we had to just adopt. We were okay with what they were providing, which is basically what we had to do manually. So right now, we are in the position where we tried to be different. Where we failed, we abandoned the path. Where we succeeded, we maintained and got consistent with those choices that are amazing. And other projects recognized some of the things that were working well for us and tried to do the same. For instance, there are many things where Kali is very different from Parrot. There are many things where Kali used to be different from Parrot, and now they are not anymore because they adopted XFC as a desktop environment almost by default, I believe. You can still install GNOME and so forth, but they provide XFC, which is very lightweight. They no longer provide default root access. So I don't want to say they copied that from us, because we weren't the only project to go in that direction, but they did the same. So we used to be very different in the past. We are more similar now than ever. We still experiment several things in our own ways. They do the same. They are excellent at maintaining. They have the human power to that. So they are excellent at maintaining new tools, new technologies, enable you to experiment new attacks. Also, the way the system is maintained is well done, because they have a lot of people from Debian working on Kali as well. So they have this little advantage, and I think they are an amazing distribution. I will be fired for that, but who cares? I will be really honest with you. Parrot is still the right place to experiment new things, and we are almost there with few different ideas that are very different. They are no longer about how to make the system beautiful, more lightweight, more secure, and so forth. They are about reinventing the way cybersecurity is done by leveraging more container technologies, by leveraging more universal packaging technologies, and so forth. So we are in that position where we have nothing immediately visible to show you, to prove that we are better at something. I'm not here to be better than others. But we are almost there with some technologies, some experiments that might reveal themselves to be game-changing. So if you jump in with us, we might share some ideas with you. You might disagree with us and help us correct the thing, or you might agree with us and help us develop them. But by now, Kali is a good product. Parrot is another good product. They are similar but different. If you get familiar with both, you will have more tools, not tools in a practical set, like numbers of tools for hacking, but you will have a better tool set with you. If one doesn't work, the other probably will. If one is not well suited for a specific scenario, maybe the other will. So you better play with both. This is my suggestion. This is a suggestion I personally give to people. So my answer will never be use Parrot because it is better. It wasn't the answer when I believed Parrot was really better, was really offering something revolutionary. Probably it wasn't, but for me it was. And I didn't told people this kind of suggestion. What I did was, it is a product that has a different vision to the same problem. So it offers a different solution to that problem. Understanding both the solutions, getting familiar with both, is a nice strategy for your cybersecurity journey, whatever it involves. Even if you are not really a cybersecurity expert, maybe you are a sysadmin who wants to throw some port scans from time to time, or have a handy way to have Wireshark with you to debug networking things. Parrot is amazing for that. And it has some extra tools, because from the beginning, it was developed with desktop usage in mind. It was never developed as just a tool for security that you keep relegated on your virtual machine while you use Windows. It was from day one the operating system that you install on your computer, you live on, you encrypt your things on, and you use daily and at work. This is my way of using the distribution. This is my vision on that. And inside you can find those little tools. Well, I try to near that point where you don't see bloatware, but you don't see missing utilities from the system. It is extremely hard to do that, especially when you offer a product to expert people like cybersecurity engineers, where everything that is not on their white list is considered bloatware. We tried our best. I think we come up with a good solution. So this is why I suggest to use Parrot. It is another vision, another way of doing things.
Wait, you're saying cybersecurity folks are picky? No,
they're not picky. They have opinions. They have very, very strong opinions. And I can say that because I have strong opinions. It was extremely hard for me to not implement all my opinions on the system, but only those that I recognized to be universal enough to be implemented in a distribution, because everyone had to use it. I was an Emacs guy. There are versions of Parrot back then, if you browse the archive, where there is Emacs pre-installed instead of I learned from my errors. I removed the shit, and now we offer Vim, NeoVim, and of course VS Code. We don't have VS Code. We have VS Codium, the real open source version of that, with all the bloatware and telemetry off. Not just because of free software advocacy, which is the primary reason I selected it, but also because if you are inside a protected network where you have to be careful about the traffic you do, having your editor saying shit on your network, dropping packages like it was, I don't know what, it is not convenient. So you better have less telemetry on such a system. So updates are disabled by default. We don't ship with Snap or other similar crazy technologies, because that will do a huge amount of network traffic, excluding all the bad opinions you might have about Snap and other similar things. But if it was perfect, it is still the bad tool to have aboard on Parrot, if it can freely update your packages whenever it sees some network activity or some network, some gateways, So yeah, I have my opinions. You have yours. They will never coincide. What I tried to do was to create a minimum common set of things that everybody will agree on, and it proved to be well made enough for people to recognize that it is a good tool to use or to customize.
Of course. Yeah. No, thank you for walking through that. That's a great consideration to walk through, the network traffic and even the telemetry that comes off your IDEs. It's something that a lot of people, I imagine, miss that, especially as they're starting their hacking journey.
Yeah, well, whenever I see people writing like Parrot is shit, you have LibreOffice pre-installed. Fatelo too. So it is not really a policy. Do it yourself. Fuck. Nobody will ever. There are people who actually did their own versions of the not only Parrot but even other operating systems. The defaults were awful. You wouldn't be able to distribute, like Vim having custom shortcuts that are not documented, so you have to relearn the tools. So the defaults are critical for distributions. You cannot really push your opinions on that. You have to be able, it is hard to do on yourself. It is like psychological work to isolate yourself from the good opinions you have.
Now,
next question, or?
Yeah, I do have another question that's very similar to that for follow-up. This one, wonderful username, is from Skibbity Man. Are there any? Yeah, great username. Are there any exciting features that you wanted to include in Parrot 6 that got the axe? Is there anything you could talk about stuff that you wanted to include? Anything that you're excited about that may be coming in the future?
Okay, I have a rough idea of an answer. I have 3 points. I will forget 2 of them as soon as I start talking about the first one. I should write them now. The first thing is I would like when we dropped the Python 2 support, we had to get rid many tools that were useful that never got a proper replacement. Now the replacements are emerging. This is one thing. So we solved that issue. If you told that question 1 year ago, my answer would have been there are tools that are not longer existing or working, cannot be delivered. So we need to develop them from scratch, redevelop them on a more modern language. Now there is a problem. I saw it coming many years ago. Many years ago means like 10 years ago, which is digital forensics. We lost the war of open source tools on digital forensics. Okay, on Linux, on open source technologies or technologies freely available, you can still do acquisition of disks, of memories. You can still analyze some of the things like basic operating system analysis. There is a huge class of analysis you can do or acquisitions that you can do with proprietary products that are not just software you install by paying, but you need hardware for that. You need licenses that cost millions. I'm looking at you, Cellbright. Fuck off. What they did was to see that the open source community was not powerful enough there. We weren't able to follow the evolution of technology, especially mobile phones, and the applications, the common applications, not the open source ones that we geeks use, but the common ones that real people use. So we weren't able to provide analyzers to analyze a WhatsApp chat or an Instagram profile and have a legally valid report for that. So the only way to do that is to pay ginormous amount of money to a private company, have an hardware with the cables, with the things, with a Linux version on board, and clone a phone and be able to have all the conversations from the backups and things. There is no way to do it with open source tools. You cannot do digital forensics in full with open source projects. This is something we should really reflect on because it is not easy. It is doable to fix it and propose something usable. We are not doing it, and we lost that war to a segment that was very, very important to cybersecurity as well, because digital forensics was our little brother, and we left it die, basically. The other thing is modern technology, cloud. I said before, even on Hack the Box interviews in the past, that we don't have enough open source tools to test cloud technologies, even though the cloud has been a thing, even before 2010, 10 years later, we still were left without the proper tools to analyze some of the things, the products that are out there. Now, I might say we are not so badly placed as before. Something is moving. So, okay, I'm generally happy with how things are evolving, and we are following it in a proper way, I believe. Even if there are a couple of tools we are evaluating to include, I don't even remember the names. I'm just testing them because I have to learn the technologies I have to test them on, and then test the tool, see whether it is well written, analyze the code, see whether it is legit or not, and then include. It's a long process, and I would prefer if other people help me with that. Also because many tool inclusion proposals come from newcomers to the InfoSec world who learn their first programming languages, develop their first tools, but those tools are not universal enough to be to be well placed on a penetration testing distribution. So my heart cry, but most of the time I have to say no to this kind of proposals. While other tools that are well made, they're more professional, but not so heard like the popular ones, may deserve inclusion, and I need the help of the community to spot them and do that. For instance, the fact that Parrot was included in the Hack the Box Academy platform and Machines platform as well was crucial to identify what was the last tool we included a few weeks ago? Netexec as a replacement for the previous one. I don't even remember the name. Crack. Okay, it's a mouthful.
And I'm not even a technician.
So now we have Netexec because the Academy module couldn't be done with CrackMacExec, it was deprecated, and Netexec was the proper replacement. It was suggested to me. I included it in one day. I found out the Vietnamese contributor did the same. I preferred his one because that was packaged better than mine, and we have Netexec now. This is how open source projects are done. If you are a proposal, you have a tool that you would like to suggest, package it, show it to us. If you don't know how to package it, contact us and we will do it together. But we are always back to how to contribute to the project, which we spent enough time on. One thing, the last point of the three ones is we still do, as Parrot project, penetration testing as something done from your personal laptop on a network. There are better ways to do that. For instance, you can integrate the same tools we provide with container technologies and embed them into your CI pipelines. Like you develop a software, you have the code to deploy it, you might create a test to see whether the set of ports that are open after a new version is the same you expect. If there is an extra port, you can report, you can red flag the pipeline and stop it. If there are fewer, maybe a server is not working properly, so you can even check with that. You could check with code, you could check with penetration testing tools that can be integrated into your workflow as well. So instead of writing your own Python version of something that checks whether the port is open or not, you might use Nmap and maybe also listen to the banner of the service to see whether it's, there are several things you can do, but it requires more development. It requires more standardization, which is the key word. So my dream for the future will be to see new standards where developers are taught to use penetration testing tools to integrate them into their workflow. Also because with infrastructure as code models, the infrastructure becomes part of your code. So you can test them the same way you test the code. So you could do test-driven development of infrastructure with products like our Docker containers. This is something I'd like to do. They love my phone. They really love my phone when I'm doing live streams. So this is a dream of mine. A dream of, not really mine, but it was suggested by a Red Hat developer. Red Hat came many times today.
Yeah.
Was to migrate every single penetration testing tool we have, or at least try, to Flatpak. Why? Because the tooling to package them is easier. it follows more modern deployment standards, and it is universal. So you could be interested in that, even if you are absolutely not interested in maintaining Debian code for a Debian derivative. So the knowledge, the know-how is out there. There is more of that. And that will enable people to use the Parrot tools on distributions that are not Parrot. You might use them on Fedora, on Arch Linux, on fucking Ubuntu, where you want. You could do that. And it is a project of mine that I would like to succeed with in at least a couple of years from now. What I expect to do is to create like a boilerplate with 3 to 4 tools packaged there just to bootstrap the project, to show how it's done, and then wait for other people to jump in and maintain other tools with me. It is not something I can do alone, absolutely, but it is something I could get the community involved. And as soon as you have a CI to package with Flatpak for each of the tools, it is extremely easy, almost automatic, to do the same, to have a Docker container dedicated for each of the tool, or even on that, if we manage to properly integrate CI builds for Debian packages, we could have also deb files as a side product of that build. So maintain the classical way of maintaining the tools as well, while providing a universal toolset compatible with any Linux distribution, plus a universal toolset compatible with any cloud infrastructure or cloud technology that leverages OCI compatible containers. This is my dream. This is where I see the future of Parrot. Having the operating system, that will stay, and having the toolset, the arsenal, separated from the operating system. So you have a convenient way of doing cybersecurity and a more innovative way of doing the cybersecurity, which is to install the tools wherever you want, to use them in more flexible ways. It sounds futuristic, but fuck off. The technology is there. The technology is there, and we are not using it. So why not dreaming to succeed at it?
Absolutely. Now, we're about at the end of our time, so we have one last awesome question that was asked. This one comes from Skidaros. What is your number one most important lesson you've learned during your career? So if you were to give, if there's a number one lesson learned, do you have any in mind?
Yes, but okay. Well, the best lesson I probably heard or learned or whatever is you never fail. Whether it is an exam or a job or something, you never fail, you learn. There is something that also IPSEC said on some recent live streams we did together on the Hack the Box Discord channel. And I really believe it. Whenever you fail, you're actually learning something from failure, if you are open to that. So if you learn yourself how to learn from your failures, you will never fail in your life. I failed a lot of times. I implemented a lot of things that were bad on the system. I made a lot of mistakes, from not delivering security updates in a timely manner back then, to making updates that didn't solve issues but caused others. I saw systems, important systems, to friend of mine destroyed by an update that was up to be committed to master. Of course, we tested it before in time, but so I did a lot of errors. I always learned something to not do them again. And if I had to guess when I learned something without an error, I will not point you to a single experience I did where success taught me something. So success probably taught me the importance of making errors, but nothing else other than that. Errors actually put me where I am today. So do them. Do as many as you can. Maybe prepare to do them in a safe environment, but do them.
Great advice. No, thank you for jumping in with that. That's it's such a positive way to spin things. Julia, before we wrap things up, did you want to jump in? Did you have something you wanted to add? As far as advice goes.
The most important lesson?
Yeah.
Am
I putting you on the spot?
No, I got one actually, but it would sound super mainstream. But especially
okay.
since when I joined Parrot and Hack the Box, I really learned the real meaning of get out your comfort zone. Since like I'm right now we are surrounded by the most inspirational people that I have ever met, and I learned so many things just by looking at others, and jump straight in, keep learning new things, and get what are you doing and keep like doing new things that you are not used to. And I think that's the most important thing, because I get up every morning with a big smile on my face, like craving to do something new, something more. And that's a really amazing thing that really helps me a lot through the jobs and everything, and dealing with him most of all.
Truth comes out.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh gosh. No, that's great. I mean, even then, a lot of times it's the simple things that we need to remember.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
that
appreciate the
really
simple
matters.
things. Is
Yeah,
key.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that about does it for the AMA. Is there anything, any last things you want to mention before we start wrapping up?
Maybe something from the chat, some last minute.
You got it under. So
Nothing for the chat in a little bit. Chat has just been really sitting back and enjoying the stream. So, no, I think that's about all we have. So, thank you both for being here. Thank you, Lorenzo and Julia. I can't appreciate your time enough.
thank you, Dark.
Thank you for the
Thank
opportunity.
you.
Of course. Thank you, everyone who tuned in, and thank you if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube. If you want to catch other parts of this, keep in mind that this is something that will be uploaded to YouTube later on. I believe that this will also be on the Parrot channel as well, which is
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
If you're looking to get involved, we do have the Hack the Box Discord, but I highly, highly recommend joining the Parrot Discord, which I didn't know about before this call. I am in there. I really wanted to mention. I wanted to bring it up.
Whether you land on our Discord or Telegram groups, you'll be in the same place basically. So that's where you will find us and have a chat with us about distro development, other questions, hacking, things completely unrelated to that. We are there for whatever you need.
Absolutely. Be sure to jump in and, check it all out. The first thing is just, saying, yeah, I want to try this. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you everyone for watching. That does it for another awesome Hack the Box AMA. And I'll see y'all next time. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.